Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Loose Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Thank you, Tim, Ben, and Carrie, for all that you do for us. It's always awesome seeing you at the racetrack and all that you do for the sport, not just for us. So we appreciate you greatly, as always.
Dude, my mug's back at home. I'm up at my mom's she shed, a flooding she shed up here, as a matter of fact. And hey, I'm even drinking mom's beer.
Hey, man. Episode 173. How are you doing up there?
All right, man. Yeah, starting to cool off. You know, we got kind of roasted over at Norway, man. But cooled off a little bit since then.
Yeah, it certainly has. It was hot, but it was sure fun, and I'll take that any day over the freezing cold.
Yeah. We always say, hey, sitting at the Halloween, and we don't shed our tears either. So, yeah, we take it as it comes, man. Either you bake or you freeze or somewhere in between.
That's right.
As long as you ain't wet, right?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, which we'll see about tomorrow night and all of that. But hey, man, I wanted to start by saying got some news today that former NASCAR team owner Larry McClure has died. So he was half owner in the Morgan McClure Motorsports team that won 3 Daytona 500s, including 2 with Sterling Marlin and then the one with Ernie Irvan. So thoughts and prayers once again with the NASCAR community, Larry's family and friends. Another big loss in the racing community.
You know, that was a classic icon of a car, the Ford Kodak car, man. Really cool. You know, Mark Martin was in that ride also beforehand. So they had 14 wins in NASCAR, so they were relevant. And boy, yeah, back in the early 90s, they were tough to beat on the super speedways.
Yeah, they were. Man, that number 4 Kodak car when Sterling Marlin was winning his Daytona 500s just sounded a little different too, didn't it? It looked good. It sounded different. They had a pretty good run there.
That's my favorite color, yellow, right there, dude. That is the perfect yellow color right there for that car.
Yeah, it was a good scheme. Iconic for sure.
Yep. So prayers for the McClure whole gang there. And every week, man, we're losing somebody. So everybody live for today, man. Tomorrow's not promised.
Yeah, for sure. We always say that. That's kind of both our mottos, like live for today and you know. I always like the quote. I'm trying to think of what movie it's from. It's skipping my mind at the moment, but it's maybe it's Wedding Crashers, where it says if you take life too seriously, you'll never get out of life. And it sounds kind of stupid, but when you really think about it and put your own aspect on it, it kind of makes a lot of sense. And I always think back to that for some reason. And when we lose people and in these tough moments, it's hard, but you know, they would want us to move on and all of that and not take life too seriously and live for today. So that's what you kind of hang your hat on.
That's what we always talk about. So that's the way it is, man. That's how I live my life, man.
Yep.
Full throttle too. just like Red Farmer too. It seems to be a lot of full throttle.
Yep, Red Farmer told us that at the 50th annual Snowball Derby, which was Mark, 2017. So, some good memories there.
Yeah, he was 85 years old, dude, and he's still cranking up the dirt down there in Alabama. So, hey, I'd like to be moving around like him when he's 85. That'd be pretty cool.
No doubt. I'll take that for sure. Well, on today's episode, we're going to recap some news. We'll recap some short track racing that happened over the weekend there. We had IndyCar at Road America, so we'll talk about that. And then, of course, the Pocono weekend. And then look ahead, I know we got also the bracket coming up here that people can fill out too. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's continue on here. Mark, starting with Norway there, the Norway 100 with the Midwest Tour. It was hot like we talked about, but super, super fun. Dalton Zier ended up pulling off that one. Casey Johnson was second. Levon Vandergeest was third. Then Andy Monday, Gabe Summers, Joey Pomprion, Max Kaler, Mitch Haver, Penn Sauter, and Cody King rounded out the top 10. They had 23 cars there, a phenomenal field. If you would have told me, any one of those cars won it, I'd say, yeah, I could see that. I would believe you there. Great schedule. We talked about this. The pits didn't open until 2. Practice started at 4. They only had 2 20-minute sessions for the Midwest Tour. It was very quick turnaround. Racing started at 7. Just an awesome schedule that Greg McCarnes put together there. Great event, great racing. I think back on the Levon Vandergeest and Andy Monday battle for third, for the lead there for a while. They both led some laps, and then for third place finishing up there, it was a great battle. Great racing throughout the field. It was just a tremendous event up there at Norway.
That Norway, man, that little bull ring puts out a good product up there, man. Sure did enjoy that, man. Hey, and then we got back to the campground and lightning bolts started flying around, just like, wow, we beat the weather, but we were down in the pits and all of a sudden it felt like somebody turned a fan on us, and all of a sudden, hey, we got a breeze here, and the breeze kept going and kind of cooled the place off. But yeah, spectacular show, man. A lot of them drivers sure look they look like they were kind of warm, man, with the heat and everything like that. We've seen Andy Monday kind of hanging by a fan, and when we talked to Dalton, he looked like he was pretty sweaty too, but he said he's used to that. He's from Florida. But all in all, great show. Stands were about 3/4 full. Dude, they've got June bugs up there that are Texas size up there. I have never, ever seen June bugs that size up there, man. It was crazy.
It was crazy. Yeah, all of a sudden one hit you and you flicked it off, and then a couple hit me, and then that one I couldn't get off my back, and I was like, hey, can you help me out here? And they would it's almost like you said Velcro. It was almost like it would stick to your finger and it would be hard to get off. It was those June bugs up there, man, those are impressive.
I was sitting there watching, all of a sudden I got hit right on the bridge of the glass, and you want to talk about shock and awe. And these things are twice the size of what I normally see June bugs. So they got world record June bugs up in the Norway area. It's crazy.
And they would swarm down at you. They would swoop at you. And stuff. Yeah, they were impressive too. But kudos to everyone involved with Norway Speedway, the Midwest Tour, that put on that show on Saturday. It was awesome. Camping was awesome too. $20 gave you electric and water hookups there. That's the best deal in town, man. That was a good that was a great deal. We appreciate that so much.
It was, man. Never even knew about the place, and we kind of went in the parking lot, and they said, you can't camp here right after we got set up, and oh, so what a bummer, and usually if you get kicked out, you never expect an upgrade, man. And when we went back, you're like, hang on a second, there's electric here, right away, and as hot as it was, man, at least we could get some air conditioning, and yeah, we got an upgrade from getting kicked out of the parking lot, and wow, never even knew that was back there. So that was we learned a lot about the next time we go to Norway, man. That's going to be cat's meow the next time we go up there.
It is for sure. Yeah, we somehow got to find an easier way to get from the campground or the pit area over to the stands to watch the races somehow. That's the only thing. If I was going to say something that maybe we need to look into further and how we can do that next time, that'd be the one thing we need to look into and improve on. But maybe they can help us out a little.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was sealed off over by turn 1 and 2, and you got to come in over by turn 4 there. So that's how you kind of work it in the parking lots over there. So it was kind of a mixed up deal. It's been a while since we've been up there, so we a couple of things there outside has changed, but we made it work. We sure got our exercise walking around in that heat and everything like that. But we had a cooler of free num-nums, and we brought them in, and they sure went down really well too. So it was good.
It was good. Yeah. All in all, a great day, great event. Again, kudos to everyone involved with that show there. Hey, moving on to the next thing I wanted to ask you about. Crandon was also running shows up there. Did you see the finish in the P2 Pro 2 versus P4 up there at all?
Yeah, one ended up on top of each other, right? Wasn't there? And then they were stuck together, and they were trying to back off and try to get away from each other. As soon as they got away from each other, they put her in gear and they turned and they just kept right on going, man. It looked really entertaining. It looked pretty fun.
Yeah, so it was Keegan Kincaid and CJ Graves who initially got connected and finally became unconnected there. But Kyle Chaney was third, and he got there as they got unconnected. Graves and Chaney then made contact. Chaney would get by him and go to second, but made some contact with Kincaid, who got back to the lead just as this was all happening. And Chaney kind of pushed Kincaid across the line and ended up on top of him. Craziest finish I've seen in a long time, man. That was wild. And I know Crandon is on both of our lists to get up and watch some off-road racing. We got to make that happen.
I've had so many chances of going there, man, camping up in that area and everything, and we just never pulled the trigger on it to go do that. So, with racing like that, man, it looks like that's awful exciting, man. We're gonna have to go check that out.
I agree. ARCA Menard Series was also at Elko Speedway, and Ty Fredrickson was making his ARCA Menard Series debut, so that was exciting to keep an eye on Saturday. Max Reeves would go on and win his first ARCA Menard Series race. Ty would finish fourth and on the lead lap there, so he had an impressive day.
That was a very impressive run for him, so that was a good deal. Wasn't there was a penalty that came out of there too, wasn't there, that I just seen recently out of that series?
I didn't see anything, so you might have to fill me in on that.
I just sketched over it, man, but I saw there was a penalty, but I couldn't, being on here, I didn't take notes on it, so. But otherwise, yeah, it's good to see Ty Fredrickson running a heavy race car at his home track up there. So, hey, might just give him a shot to get a seat in the steering wheel somewhere and keep improving his career. So, good for him.
Absolutely, yeah, that was awesome to see. Kudos to Ty and congratulations to the Fredrickson family on making that happen. IndyCar Series was at Road America there. Really, really exciting race. Alex Palou would win again. That's 6 wins of the 9 races. Kyle Kirkwood has won the other 3. But at Road America was Palou, Rosenquist, Ferrucci, Kirkwood, Armstrong, Simpson, Malukas, who went off and caused the first caution early, so he had a nice rebound there. Siegel, Dixon, who was leading with 3 to go but had to pit for fuel. VK was also inside the top 10. He had to restart and had to go to the back and then also do a drive-through because he pit while under penalty. So he had a good rebound, finishing 10th up there. But after the race, even a bunch stopped or ran out of fuel just after pit exit there. Ray Hall got out and got some water from a fan, but it was Santino Ferrucci who chugged a beer from the stands after the water bottle or first beer broke while trying to get to him. It was an exciting day. You know, Schwartzman and Rob wrecked in separate incidents there. Power went off track. Daly went off track and then had a 10-second penalty on top of it for not following race control. He left with part of the toe strap still connected there, which I understand IndyCar did not enjoy or was not happy about. Newgarden got into the pit wall there. He continued for a little bit after that, but ended up ending his day. Lundgaard got penalized for avoidable contact. He had to give up a position to Daly. And then several drivers were docked 3 positions for blocking throughout the day. So a lot of tipsy-turvy kind of action going on. Road America is one of the best facilities in America. I love going there. We were just there for the bikes. Mark, a few weeks ago, was hoping to get back to IndyCar. It just wasn't going to happen with Norway going on and getting back into the town for the family. So I had a coworker go, though, her first time at Road America for a race, and her husband, and they had a great time. Will be going back in the future to see IndyCar. They're big F1 fans, and that was pretty exciting to hear about their experience. But Road America is just top notch, and IndyCar series there is awesome as well.
I bet you the heat was just unbearable there. No, it had to have been a hot one. Hey, that Newgard, even on practice the day before, man, he caught the kink and slammed the wall there, man. He's had some pretty nasty wrecks here and bad luck that's been going on with him. So he's going to have to turn that around. But Alex Palou, well, why not, right? Sure seems to be his year, man. He's got the bar set high.
I think that kink incident that came out was actually from a year or two ago, because that was the hit where he experienced like 10 G's or something like that. For some reason, that video started surfacing after the race, and I'm not exactly sure why, but I think that was from a year or two ago, because he experienced, I think it was like a significant amount of G's in that incident. But yeah, I mean, he's had some bad luck and some bad wrecks lately. Obviously, he hit the wall on Sunday after having that huge incident over at Worldwide Technology Raceway that we talked about. So he's kind of had a rough season.
Yeah, so we gotta keep slugging away at it, man. Just keep going, keep going on.
Yeah, IndyCar has been great though, man. I can't wait to get back to see IndyCar. I think we're gonna try Mark? Iowa coming up here in July, and Milwaukee. So they got some good races coming up. The next time they're on the track is Mid-Ohio on July 6th, so July 4th weekend, the Sunday after that at Mid-Ohio. So, yeah, it's a great series, and can't wait to get to see them.
Yep, just a little bit different kind of drama that's in there, man. They race a little bit different rules. Yeah, great series, man. They put out good stuff, and love to see them on the ovals, man. So Iowa, man, that's going to be, I want to see them things. I remember the days when they went to Milwaukee and, you stand down by the wall on turn one and you just watch them just rip around the corner, just like, it's just mind-boggling how fast they're going and how them cars handle, they just overpowered go-karts is what they look like, but they're moving. And so, yeah, in August, the weekend before Labor Day, plan on seeing them down in Milwaukee too.
Yeah, super excited for both of those events. But let's go into the NASCAR weekend then, Mark. We'll start with the trucks at Pocono here. Riggs would win the stage under caution by staying out. Dennison lost a tire to bring the caution out late there. Enfinger had a valve stem get knocked out and had to pit a second time just before the yellow, so he went a lap down. And then Mozak took 2 tires, which was kind of surprising there.
Yeah, I just wrote down caution free, and then all of a sudden, just when I wrote it down, and Dennison, wrecked into turn one, I was just like, oh, oops, I jumped the gun on that one too much. Yeah, so that was unfortunate for Enfinger. You never hear very much of hearing a valve stem get knocked off like that, so he had to come back in, and yeah, it cost him a lap, and I don't think he ever got that back all day, did he?
It was an uphill battle for sure. I think he did get it back, but then we'll talk about something that happened later on with him. But in stage 2, Rhodes started missing there. They thought they had a small hole in the fuel cell, which was adding air to it. Not too many times do you hear something like that and hear that they've diagnosed it that quickly. So something was up on the 99 truck. But Corey Heim would win the stage. It's his 12th stage win, the most ever in a season for the truck series, and we're not done yet for the regular season. We got a few races to go before the playoffs start.
Unbelievable, huh? Hey, with that 99, sure looks faster, They Rich Lucius, they all of a sudden once again made a swap crew chiefs, and it always seems to go on all the time right there, trying to find the right combination there. So, but yeah, Corey Heim, wow, is he usually's got the first 2 stages all set, and then it seems like things kind of go haywire for him on the 3rd stage. We've seen that multiple times this year.
Yeah. Enfinger and Ankrum then would make contact in the final part of the race there. They would spin and collect Green, Sutton, Jones, and Rhodes. Then Garcia struggles in the corner and makes contact with a few trucks. Ty really couldn't avoid him, and Jake would go spinning and wreck. And then as they were coming back to Green, speaking of Heim, he would have a tire go down. So Riggs would now be the control truck, but Hocevar fired first, and Hocevar would get a restart penalty.
That's Hulsifer, right? That's how Jeff Burton says that. So it was unfortunate there. Yeah, my pick was actually Hulsifer. And yeah, he took off. And as soon as I heard that they were going to review the restart, you knew he was going to get pinched because it wasn't on him, he wasn't supposed to fire. So he fell back to like 20th and fought his way back up to 13th. Still killed his race, man. He could have won that race.
Very easily. Yeah, it definitely derailed it there. But Lane Riggs would end up hanging on over Tanner Gray, Honeycutt, Jones, Hemrick, Mozak, Chandler Smith, Friesen, Majeski, and Carruth. The fastest lap also went to Riggs, 54.338 seconds, or 165.63 miles per hour.
Riggs has been knocking on the door for many weeks, dude. Usually more of a short track ace, but he was the guy to beat. But yeah, he's been close many occasions this year, but finally he gets to the pay window this week.
Hey, I'm going to switch things up a little bit here, if you don't mind, and talk about it. They go to Lime Rock next, which the Truck Series has never been to Lime Rock. But let's make our picks right away after we talk about these series. Let's switch it up a little bit here. I get to go first because even though Hocevar had that late penalty, he ended up catching and passing Enfinger and then a few more even after that. So I get to go first, and I'm going to pick a driver who has a lot of road course experience, sport car experience, has dabbled in NASCAR a little bit. I'm going to take a swing at this, and I'm going to go with Jordan Taylor.
All right, yeah. Well, we know how that seven truck runs, man, and so that could be a good pick. Hey, man, I was looking at who does road courses in trucks, and wow, I haven't used Corey Heim yet this year, and so we're going to see if we can punch a ticket here. I think Heim is probably hungry from not getting the win last week. He looked like the dominant one. So for the first time, I'm going to throw the big club at you, and I'm going to give Corey Heim is my pick for the trucks.
When you picked Corey Heim, I was like, oh, this has got to be his second time at least using him. And I looked, and it was first. And once again, I think what I told you was I'm down, and I came back a little bit to make it just into the single digits being down to you. But you had some firepower left to use, unlike last year. So that is what makes me concerned. And when I saw it this week, it was like, yeah, this is a very big uphill battle for me.
I go to bed at night and I'm dreaming of prime rib going in circles around, so thinking of that good old black otter prime rib, what the bet is for. And I ain't counting my prime rib before it's cooked here, but but I'm off to a pretty doggone good start.
I tell you what, I told you I would rather lose in a blowout than what I did last year, catch all the way back up and lose on a tiebreaker. So I'll feel a little better about this year maybe than last year. Although I don't know, it's been a rough year for me. I need a rebound in some fashion here.
Don't ever give up in racing or anything. Don't give up. Keep going, man.
So then we move over to the Xfinity series here. Daniel Dye would spin early. A bunch brushed the wall out of turn 3 one lap as well. It was like they were all following each other and bam, 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 and they all were hitting the wall.
On the back bumper, on the back side, they just kind of slide the rear end over just a little bit, and all of a sudden it's just one right after another. We even seen that in the Cups. That one camera would just park right there, and yeah. As wide as that track is, you think that there'd be enough room, man, but they are right up against that wall right there.
That turn, I mean, it's flat because it's made after Milwaukee. So yeah, it could be just. I'm sure every corner could be a little bit wider.
But how many times have you followed the leader? And the guy in front will hit the wall, and you're following the guy. So that next thing you bounce off the wall, and the guy behind you that's following you, he bounces off the wall, and this is pretty hard contact coming off that wall over there on 3.
Yeah. Bonsignor would blow up here in stage 1, too. Something you don't see very often is engines blow, especially that early. But it would be Brandon Jones winning the stage by being one that stayed out.
And I think that's his first stage this year, right?
I think so.
I think so, too.
Unfortunately, his good day would get a A little worse just after that. He would get loose in the tunnel turn, spin, and collect Hill, Sawalich, and Daniel Dye.
That was unfortunate there. Yeah. So, he did get a chance to switch the stage, so then you end up back in the pack and then, you win the stage and then you get wrecked out. That's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah. Creed would get into the wall and brush Harrison Burton there. Honeyman would spin after contact from Massey, but Zilich would win the stage by being one that stayed out there.
Yep. So, and Zilich looked like he was pretty fast right at that time, man.
And we talked about it on the podcast last week, but Dale Jr. was on top of the box of the 88 machine this week, so a little added pressure for Zilich and the team.
It was. It sure was.
Smithley would spin later on. Thompson would get loose and into Ellis. Sanchez would spin, and Creed tried to avoid, but hits the drain down there and hit the wall pretty hard.
He pancaked that side. I don't think if he would have hit Sanchez or if he would have went after the wall, either way, it wasn't going to work out for him. And so that was unfortunate for him.
Yeah. Elgeier would get loose and into Elliott. They kept going, but would lose a ton of ground in turn one there. That was for the lead on a restart.
That probably killed Elliott's chance to win right there. It was amazing that Elgeier hung on to it. He was way up in the marbles, and as they were coming off, it was 5 wide and everything like that. But, yeah, they lost a lot of ground on that restart.
Kyle Sieg would also spin later, but it would be Connor Zilich getting by Jesse Love late to take the win. Zilich, Love, Eckes, Elliott, Ryan Sieg, Quapple, Mayer, Sammy Smith, Taylor Gray, and Elgeier were the top 10. But it was just announced a little while ago that NASCAR has penalized Hendrick's number 17 Xfinity team after Pocono for main frame rail conical receiver violation. And that means crew chief Adam Wall will be suspended for 3 races. The team is docked 40 owner points, 10 playoff points, and fined $40,000.
Ouch. That's a hefty fine, but yeah, I looked into that and that's a no-no. Yeah, they took 10 playoff points. I didn't think that car could be in the playoffs, so but that's irrelevant. That 40,000, man, that cuts deep, and 40 car points. So the owners probably championship might just went out the window with that penalty.
I was just about to say that they're not in the Xfinity Series driver playoffs, but the team owners playoffs there, they're still in. So that could hurt there.
Yeah, that's going to hurt.
He did pick up an extra point for being the fastest driver there, 54.741 and 164.411 miles per hour. But they head to Atlanta next for Echo Park Speedway, it's now called. I got to get used to that. Where the defending winner is Austin Hill. You beat me up this past weekend, so I get to go first once again here. And I am going to take Ryan Sieg to do well and hopefully pick up that win.
All right, man, you can have at that. Hey, the last 4 races at Atlanta, Austin Hill has a 4-race winning streak, so why not make it 5? And it'll be my 3rd time using Austin Hill, and so I'm throwing another big slug at you for that one for the Xfinity race.
Yeah, you're acting like you are going to end it this weekend. You want it, and you want it now.
I'm swinging for the fences, dude. So.
The Cup Series then on Sunday over at Pocono. Man, what a save by Hocevar out of turn 3. The roof flap even deployed. Wowzers.
How do you save that one, man? It was unfortunate, man. It was a 2-hour rain delay, but at least they were starting the race later enough that there's no lights there, so it all worked out. So yeah, it was a little bit of a delay, but wow, Hocevar, that's maybe the save of the year, maybe, as far as that one was gone.
I would like to see if one's going to beat it, what it was, because that, yeah.
You got to have the flaps go up if you're going to compete against that one.
Yeah. Hamlin would win the stage. Busch was speeding, and Reddick had a slow stop there in stage 1.
Yeah, that's fourth win for Hamlin. He was off last week, for maternity leave, right? And baby watch. And so anyway, so it gets back in there and finds out that he's super fast.
Yeah, like riding a bike, you can take a week off and come back at it.
Well, he's got more wins at Pocono than most of anybody else. He definitely knows how to get around that tricky triangle.
Oh yeah. Herbst would blow a right front and get into the wall. We were later find out that they were starting to have some brake rotor issues and they were exploding. So he had one of those that made that tire go down. And then in the pits, Allmendinger hit a tire that his tire carrier was carrying, and it bounced and hit the tire changer for SVG. That was a nasty looking thing.
Yeah, it's just like the guy didn't even expect it, and the tire was there, and it's amazing, man. I mean, it knocked the gun out of his hand. He was dazed. You could see it really affected him, but he picked his gun up and he kind of gingerly went over to the side of the right rear to go change it, and he did his job. But wow, that tire was in his lap before he even knew it, dude. Scary deal.
It was very scary. Another 2311 driver blew a tire and hammered the wall. This would be Bubba Wallace this time. He also had a brake rotor explode. And then Keselowski would enter a closed pit. And then Blaney was speeding. So a couple of bad deals there.
So when you come in, you're not forced to pit. You could just drive right through, right? And you figure you could actually communicate that before you get to your pit stall. And they didn't even do that. He was further down and they still pitted. Like, well, why would you just drive through? You lose some track position, but it's a lot better than taking a penalty. So that was a head scratcher there. Like, what are you doing? I didn't understand that one.
Yeah. And he was a contender. So that made his day an uphill climb as well.
That was a head scratcher there. Yeah,
very much so. McDowell had an issue and would hit the wall. It looked like another brake rotor issue for him as well. The caution would come out for debris a couple laps later, but it didn't come out right away.
Yeah, there was that break, and then the 45 Reddick, apparently, being teammates, they were getting a vibration, and he ended up coming in and losing 2 laps to recheck the rotor. So there was probably team parts that was going on there, and so going to have to go check your distributor out and see if you're getting the right parts. But unfortunate for 2311 this weekend.
Yeah, they were. From what I understand, they might have been doing something different with cooling too. So who knows? But Busch would get loose and spin. Bell, SVG, Ty Dillon would get involved, and that's where Reddick would come in to check the rotors. And then once again, you talked about this earlier after the Xfinity series, about 15 drivers, it seemed like, brushed the wall out of turn 3. So that was interesting. And then Briscoe would win the stage.
Yeah, it just seemed like a freight train. All of a sudden, bang, 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 and it kept tagging the wall that was on there. And so quite entertaining camera right there over in turn 3.
Yeah. SVG would spin in the middle of the last green flag pit stops. Blaney had just come to pit road, so that would be big for him. On the other side of things, Brad stayed out, and that would hurt him. Briscoe left early on his green flag stop, so they were unsure if he could make it. So this was an interesting time in the race.
That was with 36 to go, yeah. So, yeah, it was right at the edge like that, so came down to a fuel mileage thing once again.
And Briscoe would save enough fuel and go on to win while Hamlin was breathing down his neck. The driver that has the most wins there at Pocono, and he still did it. So it was Briscoe, Hamlin, Blaney, Buescher, Elliott, Nemechek, Larson, Priest, Keselowski, and Cindric. Hamlin had the fastest lap, 52.592 seconds, which equals 171.129 miles per hour.
Blaney, I thought, had something for him too, but got into the dirty air of the 11, just couldn't make that happen. Yeah, Briscoe had enough fuel to do an awesome burnout. Looking at the other top 10, you notice we see Priest in the top 10 practically every week. He's outside right now, looking outside with the way these victories are going. It's starting to run out of points. People, it's all the ones that have won that have made the championship round, so the points are getting quite interesting. Nemechek, with the legacy, has been actually putting up. They qualified well, and they actually pulled off a top 10 there too. And Chris Buescher, still relevant too for him too. He's coming around. So slowly the 6 and the 17 and the 60 all look like they got some speed, man. So yeehaw Fords, man, keep them going.
Priest has had a quietly great season. I mean, I think he's top 15 almost every week, top 10 most of the weeks. He's quietly had one. He's 20 out of the playoffs right now. But I mean, Alex Bowman is up 20. Bubba Wallace is plus 29. They've been really struggling. So there's some cars, and they could pop off a win too with how they've been running. Legacy Motor Club has done phenomenal over the second half of this of the regular season here. Eric Jones has been running a lot better. Nemechek, it's not surprising to see them in the top 10 most weeks anymore. So as this regular season comes to a close, there's some drivers who can make up some points here. Now, Nemechek is 71 out and Jones is 62 out. They're probably must win is getting close for them. But they've been picking up a bunch of points here. So you never know with a penalty or if someone has a couple of bad days. I mean, we talked about Tyler Reddick. They've been really fumbling lately. Bubba Wallace, same thing. Bowman hasn't been as strong. Buescher, he's up 38. And Chase Elliott is plus 60. Those are probably the two that I feel the best about, even though Reddick's at 107 up just with the struggles they've had. I don't feel as great about him. So you never know. The regular season still has a bunch of races left in here. So what can they do to try to make it in on points? Or can they pull off a win, which I would not be surprised by either?
Well, there's a couple road courses in there, and there's a Daytona on the last race. So, anything could happen, anything at all. I'm sure you don't want to go to Daytona trying to slip in, man. You want to try to take care of it before you get in there. So, always interesting. But boy, once from the top 16 and somebody gets in there, man, that just scrambles them points from one end to another, man. So, it's an interesting concept, and I actually am thumbs up on the way that they do that with the points there. It's makes it interesting.
Yep, I agree. They're heading to Echo Park Speedway, also in Atlanta this weekend, where Joey Logano is the defending winner. I'm going to pick a guy who is in must-win mode. I'm going to pick Brad Keselowski to rebound from Pocono to win down at Echo Park Speedway. Who do you got, buddy?
That's a good pick. He always finds his way up front. Probably him and Logano are going to be fighting it out like they always find themselves up front for their. Hey, man, I was going with a Penske car. There was just no way around of not using a Penske car this week. I figured one of the Penske cars is going to win. I've taken the best one. I'm going to take Austin Cindric, and I just think that it's he's due. He's been fast. He just popped off a top 10 at Pocono. So we'll see what we can do with Austin Cindric.
He does well at Echo Park Speedway, and he does well on super speedways as well. So a good pick for you. He's shown a lot of speed there and prowess over the last few races in super speedways. Of course, he's a Daytona 500 winner too. So good pick there. It'll be a fun weekend to watch those battles. Also, in addition to this upcoming weekend, we start the 5-round in-season tournament, which will consist of Echo Park Speedway, the Chicago Street Race, Sonoma, Dover, and Indianapolis Motor Speedway is where this thing will end there. So 5 races, the TNT portion of the Cup Series here. They do have a bracket that you can go on NASCAR.com and fill out for fun. I did one. Mark, did you happen to check that out and fill one out yet?
I haven't filled one out, but I was looking at it, and it's kind of strange how they did the seedings. How did the seedings get picked?
The seedings were over the prime season. So they set it over those races. So it's not by points. It was based on over the last few races of the prime season. So that's how they did this seeding here. I'll tell you the seeds here. So Denny Hamlin is going up against Ty Dillon. So it's the top 32 drivers that are in this season tournament. Denny Hamlin is the 1 seed. Ty Dillon's the 32 seed. Kyle Busch is 16. Brad Keselowski is 17. So those two drivers are going up, which I think is the toughest pick to make this weekend at
Well, that's
Echo
like
Park
eight,
Speedway.
9. That's like 8, 9 in a basketball tournament, right? Flip a coin.
Exactly. Yeah. Bubba Wallace is the 9 seed. Daniel Suarez is the 24th seed. Alex Bowman is the 8th. Joey Logano is the 25th. That's also a very hard pick to make here. Joey Logano is a 25 seed. Just surprised the heck out of me. Christopher Bell is the 4th seed. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is the 29th. Ross Chastain is 13th. Eric Jones is 20th. John Hunter Nemechek is 12th. Josh Berry is 21st. Chase Elliott is 5th. Austin Dillon is 28th. Chase Briscoe is the 2 seed. Noah Gragson is the 31st. Ryan Preece is 15th. William Byron is 18th. Kyle Larson is 10th. Tyler Reddick is 23rd. Ryan Blaney is 7th. Carson Hocevar is 26th. That's also a sneaky good battle there, especially going to Echo Park Speedway. So that one I'm looking forward to seeing. Chris Buescher is the 3 seed. Todd Gilliland's 30th. Zane Smith is 14th. Austin Cindric is 19th. Michael McDowell is 11th seed. AJ Allmendinger is 22nd. Ty Gibbs is 6th. And Justin Haley is 27th. So those are the seedings here. I did fill out a bracket. I'm going to kind of tell you what I have going on here so far, if I can bring it up. So I have Denny Hamlin beating Ty Dillon. I have Brad Keselowski beating Kyle Busch. Let me see here. I have Joey Logano in an upset beating Alex Bowman. I have Daniel Suarez beating Bubba Wallace. And the reason I have that is just with 23XI's recent struggles here. I should probably look at that one and maybe go with Bubba Wallace. But I'm picking a few upsets like it's the NCAA tournament, right? So I have Daniel Suarez beating Bubba Wallace there. So I have the 24 seed and the 25 seed advancing there. I also have this upset. I have Josh Berry beating John Hunter Nemechek. Berry's the 21st seed. Nemechek's the 12th. I have Chase Elliott beating Austin Dillon. Ross Chastain advancing over Eric Jones. Christopher Bell over Stenhouse. Briscoe over Gragson. Byron over Preece. Blaney over Hocevar, although I told you that's a sneaky battle to look at, especially going to Echo Park Speedway. And then I have Larson over Reddick, McDowell over Allmendinger, Gibbs over Haley, and Cindric over Zane Smith, and Buescher beating Gilliland. So the next round, I have Hamlin advancing over Keselowski, Logano over Suarez. That's a 25 versus 24 matchup there, so that's kind of interesting. I have Elliott over Berry, Bell over Chastain, Byron over Briscoe, so that's an upset. Byron's the 18 seed, Briscoe's the 2 seed. I have Larson over Blaney. Larson's the 10 seed, Blaney is the 7th. Gibbs over McDowell, and Buescher over Cindric. Round 3, I have Hamlin beating Logano. I'm not sure why it's telling me TBT on that. I have, who's that supposed to be? Chase Elliott beating, I have Christopher Bell beating Chase Elliott, Larson beating Byron, Buescher beating Gibbs. So the semifinal, I have Hamlin over Bell, and I have Larson over Buescher, which sets up the 1 seed versus the 10 seed, Hamlin versus Larson. What other way would you like it? The biggest rivalry in the Cup Series that's been going on over the last 3 or 4 years. And I have Kyle Larson winning the in-season tournament.
Congratulations. I looked at it and I said, you know what? First off, I was looking for the 5-12 seed for the upset, you know. You know how the 5-12 works in basketball. You know, last year in the basketball tournament, all the number 1 seeds made it to the finals. So guess what? I'm going with the number 1 seed. Who's that? Denny Hamlin. Why not? That's my pick to go at that time, because I think right now it just seems like he is going to get into the swing of things right here. But, Atlanta's next week. Anything can happen there. And then you get 2 road courses back to back, with a Chicago and Sonoma, just like that's crazy, and that can really throw a curveball. And then, then we move on from there. So, interesting stuff. I looked at it right away the first time, just like, I kind of told you just like, it's a gimmick, but anything. But I actually sat down and looked at it. Maybe I'll fill one out. We'll see what happens.
You should do it just to see where we go. Now you can listen back to this and hear all my picks, but
and pick everything else different than what you did.
Correct, because you know how my Cup Series is going. So yeah, pick everything different.
Yeah, you've only picked one top 5 out of what is this? This is 16 weeks, and you've only had one top 5 in the Cup. So,
terrible.
Yeah, terrible. Yeah,
terrible.
That's with a capital T.
No doubt, no doubt. But yeah, anyway. If you should fill one out before listening back to this and see how we do against each other, and we can give the fans updates and see who else does one. I think that
all
would.
Right, twist my pinky and buy me a beer, and I'll do it. All right.
Okay, deal.
Deal.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about news now. So going back to IndyCar, IndyCar announced a new car for 2028 to be built by Dallara once again, and will be 85 to 100 pounds lighter than the current car. The engine will be a 2.4 liter engine, twin turbocharged engine. The current engine is 2.2 liters. Hybrid will continue. X-Track to continue doing the transmissions, and PFC to continue doing the brakes there. So a new car on the horizon for IndyCar coming in 2028.
100 pounds lighter? These cars already fly already when they get turned around. So, yikes. Okay, we'll pay attention to that.
You mentioned the crew chief swap during the truck race recap there. I'm just going to say it again. ThorSport crew chief, they swapped them there. Ben Rhodes now has most of the 66 crew, including crew chief Doug George. Rich Lucis goes to the 66. Now, I did hear that maybe there could be more changes coming down the line over the next week or two. So be on the lookout for that. But that change did happen, and it's Doug George who is on top of the 99 truck box now. Also, Thomas Enizieta will drive the Spire number 07 truck at Lime Rock this weekend. And we already talked about Jordan Taylor being in the 7 truck, which was my pick.
That's a mouthful. Who's that driver again? I want to hear you say it again.
Yeah, Thomas Enizieta.
Very good.
We'll see how many times I can get that right. I've done good so far, but yeah.
I'm still having problems with Joey Pontabon, right? How do you say that name for me one more time?
Pomprion.
Okay. I've always fumbled that one, and you're teaching me behind the scenes to try to get some of these drivers' names right, all right? So
I don't get paid enough to be your teacher.
Got it. Because we raced Joey on iRacing, so better make sure I get his name right. So
Joey's a good guy, and he had a good run, finishing 6th in the Midwest Tour race, so that was pretty cool.
Yes, he did run good up there.
Yeah. David Starr, going to the Cup Series now, I should say. David Starr is going to drive for Garage 66 this weekend at Elko Park Speedway. All Pro expands its deal with Hendrick and William Byron. It'll be on the car as primary for 2 races again in 2026, 4 races in 2027, and 6 races annually from 2028 through 2030.
So maybe David Starr will bring that Whataburger sponsorship with him, man, and make me dream of the Whataburger. It's been a long time since I've been down to Nashville for a Whataburger, so that'll bring back some memories there, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good stuff there. And then the last bit of news that I got is NASCAR has added tests for a new ECU for 2026. The ECU is still a McLaren product. Each organization gets 1 car for 1-day test at Charlotte Road Course October 20th, and 1 car for 1-day test at Charlotte Oval November 17th. There is nothing to do with increased horsepower during these tests or involved with the ECU changes.
Okay. All right, let them test away on that. We'll see what happens out of that.
Anything that you want to talk about before we get into the schedule and talk about tomorrow night and this weekend?
Yeah. One of the last ones for the local racing is the Midwest Truck Series was out at Marshfield last week, and Clay Kurtz won that. Hey, he beat our good buddy Nick Van by 0.3 seconds. Man, must have been a heck of a race. Didn't see nobody take a video out there, and was looking around for that. But we always know how much the Midwest Truck Series puts out such a great product out there. We weren't at Norway, man. We would have been over there for sure.
Absolutely, 100%. Yes, thanks for bringing up the Midwest Truck Series. I can't believe I didn't have a note on that. But yeah, Marshfield's a great place, and then you throw the Midwest Truck Series on top of it. Once again, it's got to be a phenomenal event up there.
Yes, sir. Always is.
Yep. Anything else you got?
I think that's about it. Just we got our heart broken at Pocono last week, man. We were just getting into the heat races, and this cloud just wouldn't go away. Matter of fact, it got bigger and it soaked the track, and it was unfortunate. But what are you going to do? It seems like all of a sudden the weather patterns have changed. Now I'm sitting up here in Tomahawk, and we got standing water here. It's been pounding all afternoon here. They say they were in a drought up here, but after today, I don't think so.
Yeah.
So,
it seemed like the skies opened recently and haven't stopped. And tomorrow night's in question too, which I hope we're able to get the night in. We got the so last week was Al Huss Automotive in Valley Gasket, which got rained out. So they are also a sponsor this week, along with L&W Supply, and it's also Veterans Night. So any veteran gets in for free. So it's always a great night. Thank you to all the veterans, not just on the weeks that we celebrate you like this. I say it all the time. We can't thank you enough. It's every day. Just incredible. The veterans and the current military members. Man, we appreciate the hell out of you, and we can't say that enough. So if you're a veteran and we're able to get the show in tomorrow night, come on out for some free fun, and we appreciate you.
and it's also the Vanderboss Memorial too. They're rolling that over to this week also.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, that's a good deal.
Yep. So hopefully we're able to get the show in tomorrow. Would be another great event with the Fox River Racing Club out at Wisconsin International Raceway. It would be technically week 6, but we got rained out, so it would be kind of the fifth event there for the Fox River Racing Club. But having a great season so far, so hopefully we can get it in. And I'll throw in right now, we'll be all right. So hopefully we knock down some percentages there.
All right, that knocks it from 85 to 80. So okay, we're pointing in the right direction, man.
Yeah.
Everybody turn your ceiling fans on and all that. So try to get the air movement around, right?
Right. We also got Dells Raceway Park on Saturday is another Alive for 5 race there. Mark, I know you're heading there for sure. We'll see what happens with me, but you're heading down there for sure. So that's always a great event and a great series down there.
They're saying 87 for down there and back to the hot and steamies, so we'll go that direction, but that's all right, man. Loved what the Dells does. Haven't been down there for a couple of weeks. And so looking forward to getting back down to the Dells and getting back up into the bird's nest over in turn 1.
Yeah. Slinger's running Sunday. I know there's a bunch of tracks in between. Get out and support your locals, short tracks, dirt tracks, anything you can do. So get out there and support in any way possible. As far as the TV schedule goes for this week, Lime Rock will look like this for the truck series. On Friday at 12:05 on FS2 will be truck practice. 1:30 ARCA practice and qualifying. It'll be in the 60s with 30% chance, so we'll see how that works out. Saturday at 8:30 on FS1 will be truck practice and qualifying. 12 o'clock on Fox, the truck series race will get going. Stages of 35, 35, and 30. Also on FS2 at 3 o'clock on Saturday is the ARCA 68 race. So that's also going on. In the 70s, 55% chance on Saturday out at Lime Rock. They do have rain tires or wet weather tires, I should say, for both trucks and ARCA. So if that does happen, there's still a chance that they race there. as far as in Atlanta at Echo Park Speedway, Friday on the CW app at 2 o'clock is Xfinity qualifying. 4:05 on True TV is Cup qualifying. 6 o'clock on the CW is the pre-race, and 6:30 on the CW is the Xfinity race stages of 45, 45, and 73. On Saturday at 5:30 on TNT is pre-race, and 6 o'clock on TNT, the Cup Series race gets going, stages of 60, 100, 100. And remember, it's a Saturday race for the Cup Series, so just keep that in mind. We haven't had one of those in a while. So the weather for Friday and Saturday down in Atlanta looks like 90s during the day, 70s at night, 55% chance during the day, and 30% at night. So looks like we might be chasing some weather as far as the NASCAR and ARCA series goes over in Lime Rock in Atlanta, but we'll see what happens.
Typical summer bubble up in the afternoon kind of deal and kind of mellow out when the sun goes down. So be patient. Yeah, now that TNT and True TV is now getting involved, so now we're going that different way. We've gotten past Prime, and I think Prime was so popular, man. I think we're going to see a whole bunch more of that next year. Sure seemed like they hit a home run with their broadcast these last few weeks.
Prime was awesome. I thought the pre-race coverage, the post-race coverage reminded me of back in the day. Reminded me of like in between Speed and kind of the post and pre-race shows that used to happen in the late 90s, early 2000s. It was phenomenal in my opinion. I know for some people they struggled with getting Prime, but you can always reach out to us or anything to get it. Once you sign up, that's the hardest part. Like I said, Mark, once we got you rolling, I kind of directed you, and after that, it seemed like it was a breeze for you. So, yeah, but we're past that. We'll see what the future holds for Prime, but I think Prime hit it out of the park. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the problem that I had is I was trying to go through Roku at home, and that just wasn't working out. And so when we got together on my phone, it just zipped right through. So if you ever have to do an addition like that, try to do it through your phone and not your home computer or through Roku. So that's just kind of way it worked for me, man. But once we're watching Prime, like this Sunday, even we were delayed 2 hours. Hey, we're laid back, man. We're here until whenever. Just like we beat the sun going down, and nobody's rushed, and whenever they got around to getting the race going, and there was still enough daylight to make it finish. So it was good stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was job well done, but now we transition over to the TNT portion of that. But yeah, man, looking forward. Hopefully we get it in tomorrow night and see all the veterans out there and pay respect to them like always, and just hoping for a great weekend. So appreciate you, buddy. Appreciate Tim, Ben, and Carrie for all the support you give us and the sports in general. It's truly incredible. Appreciate it. Thank you, everyone else, for your support. We're enjoying all the comments we get and everything. So can't wait to see you all at a track here soon. So yeah, just appreciate it. And hey, man, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Love the positive remarks. Yes, I'm definitely paying attention to that. That's good stuff. So, hey, no matter what, man, I'll try to see you at the track tomorrow night. Otherwise, I might be living on the iRacing simulator. So there's racing one way or another tomorrow night, no matter what.
Yeah, let's plan on that, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, we'll see you out there, man.
See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.